Hello, my name is Liam. I'm not your usual political pundit. In fact, I'm not a political pundit at all. What I am though, and what I'm guessing you are too, is stuck at home, doing not much, while the world is in lockdown.
I'm here to advise you that we now have a confirmed case.
The country does not have control of the pandemic.
It's important to stress that there is no cause for alarm to the community.
The outlook is nothing short of disastrous.
And then, in the midst of all this, long-standing Labor member for Eden-Monaro, Mike Kelly, announced that he is retiring, triggering a federal by-election.
I certainly couldn't cope mentally with not being able to go full pace at this job. I would have continued on if I felt I could have done the job to the extent that it has to be done in Eden-Monaro. It is not the seat of Wentworth. It is it's larger than 66 countries, Eden-Monaro these days. It's 42,000 square kilometres of rough terrain.
But the thing is, I don't really understand any of it. And isn't that strange? That I've been alive for 24 years and still don't understand a crucial part of the overarching system that governs my life. Now, that could be down to my own personal failings at education, which, I grant you, there are many. But on the other hand, I think there is a fair amount of people in this country that are in the same boat. Yes, we know of politics, and we may even follow along with the headlines of the day. But when we get into the nitty-gritty of how a country of over 25 million people elects just 227 citizens to represent us, we're stumped. So I thought, why not put two and two together? Why not educate myself, and maybe you, on what this whole by-election process is all about? Why not go on a journey to follow the election, the candidates, the voters, and the issues, to find out what's really important? Over the coming weeks, we will explore the broader history of Australian politics, as well as the local history of the Eden-Monaro. We'll also look at what all this talk about being a bellwether seat is. Then, we'll dive into the candidates, the platforms, and their parties, as well as talking to some local voters to see what issues really matter to them. Now, this obviously isn't the Circus, and definitely isn't funded by Showtime, and I certainly haven't worked for any past presidential campaigns, successful or otherwise. I do have a cool hat though, like Mark McKinnon, which I feel is half the battle of being a successful political commentator. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest political show down under. So, as this is an introductory episode, and the candidates haven't quite made up their mind as to whether they would like to run or not, I thought we would set the stage by answering 5 key questions for the upcoming vote. The who, what, when, where, how of it, if you will. First question, what is a by-election? My understanding is that a by-election is called when a sitting member of Parliament steps down, so we don't all have to go to a general election. But that's a pretty surface level explanation. So let's turn to Australia's new Federal Minister for Education, Professor Google, and see what they have to say. Yeah, pretty much. A by-election is an election used to fill an office that has become vacant between general elections. Here's a tidbit on the origins. The procedure for filling a vacant seat in the House of Commons of England was developed during the Reformation Parliament of the 16th century by Thomas Cromwell, an all-round good guy. Previously, a seat had remained empty upon the death of a member. Cromwell revised a new election that could be called by the king at a time of the king's choosing. This made it a simple matter to ensure the seat rewarded an ally of the crown. So, from their inception, by-elections have always been contentious. Next question. When will the by-election be held? I genuinely have no idea. So again, over to Professor Google. Thankful for us, the ABC still has some funding. And I quote, "A date for the by-election has yet to be announced." Obviously not that much. Okay, third question. Where is the Eden-Monaro? The Eden-Monaro is an electorate in the far south of New South Wales that completely encompasses the ACT and holds the city of Queanbeyan, as well as the towns of Eden, Bega, Cooma and many others. It was also ravaged by the bushfire season and holds the historic town of Cobargo, as well as many other localities that are still suffering from the damages. Which makes the next question, who will the results affect, all the more poignant. Of course, everyone living in the Eden-Monaro will experience their fair share of change when a new member is elected. But this by-election isn't happening in a vacuum, and the eyes of the country will be fixed on the outcome to determine, among other things, how Scott Morrison's handling of the last bushfire season and now the recent health crisis will impact the Coalition's vote. Which is all a bit bloody serious, isn't it? So let's check out something that I've been wondering about since I heard of it. What the hell is a bellwether? Now what this means, I'm fairly certain, is that Eden-Monaro always voted the same way as the whole country, i.e. if Labor got elected, then we would elect a Labor member for the Eden-Monaro, and if Liberal got elected, we would elect a Liberal member for the Eden-Monaro. But why? Why bell? Why weather? There has to be more to this story. Over to Professor Google. Here we go. The term derives from the Middle English belly-weather and refers to the practice of placing a bell around the neck of a castrated ram, or wether, leading the flock of sheep. So really the question on everyone's mind should be, who is going to be our new castrated ram? So, thank you for watching the first episode. If you found it useful, share it around. How great would that be? Till next time, goodbye.